I'm fortunate enough to be able to share just a little bit of what it means to me to wear the green and gold, and still now to be a massive supporter. Denny Johnroe, congratulations. I remember playing in the same team as him. He used to ask me about international football. He did that. He's still on his journey. The Olympics are in his sights. Congratulations, mate. Really proud of you.
Thank you, Timmy.
Next up, cap 6'11", Connor Metcalf. Connor, congratulations on maturing, on getting your games in, scoring your goals, and also starting to flourish. There's so much ahead of your career, and I'm excited to see you make some noises on the world stage. Congratulations, son.
Thanks, Timmy.
Finally, a leader, Ruan Tonjik, cap 612. Another player I shared a changing room with. Probably the only player I know that when he tackles still smiles. You're a beautiful soul. You light up the room everywhere you go. I'm pretty sure everyone in this room now can agree with that. I love you and congratulations. You deserve all the success in the world.
Timmy.
Welcome to Socceroos Insider. Great to see Tim Cahill, one of the legends of the Socceroos, a man who played with those three young men when he was at Melbourne City's. Dennis Johnroe, Ruan Tonjik, and of course Connor Metcalf receiving their caps from one of the greats of Australian football. I've got another one with me to preview this next game for the Socceroos. Archie Thompson, cap number 456. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. I was looking around to think who you're talking about. So thanks for having me.
Great to have you here, and a special moment. Do you remember the moment you received your cap?
Yeah, I think it was Colombia, if I'm not mistaken. It was a proud moment, and you know, you hear players talk about it all the time. As soon as they receive their first call up, it's a special moment, and for me, as a footballer, it was the pinnacle of my career to be able to represent your country.
All right, let's have a look, Archie, at the table and where the Socceroos stand as we continue this fantastic campaign. A perfect record. The first time in over 20 years the Socceroos have won 6 games in a row.
Yeah, well, look, you have to say that maybe opposition is not fantastic. I know I've been through Oceania, but you still got to put them in a performance, and some of those players that are on the fringe get an opportunity, and there's a lot at stake for some of the youngsters because they almost stamped their mark on possibly going to Tokyo for the Olympic Games. So there's a lot for everyone.
Yeah, great to see so many youngsters getting the opportunity, those 3 A-League players making their debut. Let's have a look, Archie, at 3 things we liked from the game against Chinese Taipei. 5-1 the result. The goals from open play we'll take a look at. Jamie Mclaren starting it off, terrific hassling work from the striker. Yeah,
well, this is the first little impact he had on the game. He reads the play really well, nips in, and unfortunately for Chinese Taipei, defender makes a rash challenge, but you still got to be in that position. And for Jamie Mclaren, we've seen this all year with the A-League, why he's scoring so much, just hard through the middle of the goal. 9 times out of 10, it's always going to be a goal, but you know, the keeper goes the wrong way. But for Jamie Mclaren, he just harasses, and that's why he's had the success he's having.
Here's Dennis Johnroe making his debut. This is fantastic. He takes the ball here, passes it to Borrello, and an easy finish in the end for Mitch Duke.
Well, it was a beautiful bit of play. Johnroe, I thought he was outstanding. He really was dominant in that middle of the park, and for a debutant, that's fantastic. And Borrello makes a smart run, beautifully weighted ball, but as a striker, you want to really attack that front post, and that's what Mitch Duke did.
Now, just behind you, Aiden Hrustic plays the ball over the top here. Nikita Rukavica, returning into the Socceroos, does well to keep that ball alive.
Well, it was a beautiful lofted ball in the defence there, and you can see right here what a wonderful touch that is. And he didn't give up on it, Rukavica. Plays it back, and Mitch Duke, that's what you want from your strikers, to be in and around that area, waiting for an opportunity to pounce, and he did, and he scores.
Brace for Mitch Duke. What about an area of improvement for the Socceroos? One of the goals the goal they did concede from a defensive error. Let's take a close look at it now. Mitch Duke, perhaps we gave him a rap for those 2 goals. He's going to have to work on his defensive work. This is Kenny Dougal and this is Curtis Good getting caught out here, and look at the opportunity for Wei Jingao to finish. We'll pause this for a moment and have a look at how they react right here. Look, Talk to us about this defensive lineup.
Well, if you're going to be critical, I think for Mitch Duke, if he had just stayed in this position, he would have been able to affect that ball that was getting played back. But as a striker and being in this area defensively, you're kind of a bit at it and uneasy, and you're thinking, okay, I'm just going to drift back here and try to affect it here. But the two boys out wide shouldn't have done like they did. Curtis Good, we talked about him playing more centrally with Melbourne City. He's been playing right, and he played on the left in this game. So you can understand that maybe that little bit of a mix-up, but it was still quality play from the Chinese Taipei team. You see when they did score the goal, they were so delighted, even though it was 4-0 at the time.
Terrific finish, but had plenty of time to size it up. And as you said, a big celebration for Chinese Taipei after scoring that one. Harry Souttar is about to join us.
There we go.
Where are ya? Where are ya?
4 from 9. Premier League. Oh, he's rattled. Hey!
Yes! Get in there!
Welcome back to Socceroos Insider. We hope you're enjoying our show. Harry Souttar impressed again for the Socceroos, Archie, didn't he? He's going to catch your goal-scoring record soon. Another couple to add to your name. Harry, well done.
Hi guys, yeah, good to see you both. Obviously, it was nice to get another goal last night, and hopefully one day I can get close to Archie's total anyway.
Has he called you yet or sent you a text about the 13 he scored?
No, he's not yet, but I have heard it from a few of the boys in camp, and I've seen it about 20 times on all your social media channels.
Well, mate, if you've got a little bit of time after this interview, I can stay back and give you the whole story, because they're probably cutting a little bit short. But I guess how special is it for you to be involved with the Socceroos, knowing that you're going on top of the group, but also too with just some of the younger players coming through?
Yeah, it's really, really good. I think my first camp was in South Korea a couple of years ago, and that was, I kind of felt, as a youngster there, just gaining experience, and you only had to look at the squad and see how many, experienced pros there were. So for me now to come off, 2 seasons of playing really regular football, kind of feel like I belong a little bit more. And it's obviously really nice to see, all the young boys pushing through and getting minutes as well.
Take us through that camp in Korea. It was in Busan. It was an inexperienced Socceroos team that took the park that night against a full-strength South Korean side. It was quite the night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a really good experience. I never played, never got on, but just to be in the training camp and being around the boys and see how everything worked, from the backroom staff, to little simple things like the sports science aspect of it. It was just all really, really good for me, and a good experience that I hadn't experienced before. So, that was kind of the ground and base, and I've kind of tried to kick on from there and make some appearances.
Yeah, it was not long after that you came to Australia for the first time. You were in Canberra, of course, played against Nepal. And tell us how you got to come to play for the Socceroos, because we can all detect from your accent that you've spent a fair bit of time in Scotland, most of your life in Scotland.
Yeah. My mum was born in Port Hedland in Western Australia, so she was born there and she lived there for a couple of years, and before my grandparents moved back over to Scotland. So it was just a case of speaking to Adam Federici one day at Stoke, and we were just having a normal conversation, and the talk got around to families and where we're from and stuff, and obviously that came up, and that kind of just got the ball rolling for me. And thankfully he had a few contacts that got me in touch with Joel over here, and yeah, that set the ball rolling.
Obviously too, you probably didn't get the whole of Australia by going to Canberra as your first time, I'll tell you that. But look, I want to go back to football. What are some of the comparisons that you've seen from club football and taking it up to international level? Is there a vast difference, or are you seeing big differences from that?
No, there's similarities and there's big differences. I think that, especially in this stage of the qualifying, I think a lot of the teams we play against, kind of sit behind the ball, and it's the way we move the ball from side to side, and we've got to be patient, but we've also got to be ruthless as well, and we've got to be high energy and take the game to them. Club football, it's kind of a little bit different. Sometimes you'll be, sitting back. Sometimes the game will be balanced. Some games you'll be pressing so high. So I think there's similarities and there's differences. I think I get a lot more of the ball when I'm playing for Australia than I would necessarily do at my clubland. But you know, that's good for me, because I like to be on the ball and try and start attacks from the back.
It promises to be a big couple of months. Potentially you could be heading over to Tokyo to represent the Socceroos as well, something Archie has done as well, represented the Australian national team at the Olympic Games. Tell us a little bit about what that would mean for you.
Yeah, that would be a dream for me. I think I've told the boss here before, you know, when I first met him, I think the very first thing I wanted to do in sports was to be an Olympian before I wanted to be a footballer. So that goes right back to the very start. You know, not in my wildest dreams I think I would ever have a chance to go to an Olympic Games and represent Australia. So, you know, if I'm selected, hopefully I'm fit, it'll be a dream come true, and I'm sure the 18 boys that are all selected will just give it their all to try and do as best possible and hopefully try and get a medal.
And it must build a lot of confidence for that Olympic team, knowing that a good core of the group is with the national team now. Do you get to know each other a little bit more before the Olympics?
Yeah, absolutely. That we were speaking about it the other day there, me and Riley. You know, we've got Denny here, Connor Metcalf as well. I met the other day. What a fantastic little player he is as well. Didn't really know his qualities before I seen him in camp. So, you know, it's good that there's a group of us in this camp that will hopefully get selected. And you know, the more you'll know yourself, the more you play together, you know each other's games, you know what you like on the park and what you don't, and how you gel together. So, you know, the more we play together and train together, you know, the better it'll be in the future. Before
we let you go, we've spoken to Jackson Irvine in our last show. He took us on a tour, and every time we've seen what's happening in camp, we just see you on the table tennis table. Do you have aspirations to represent Australia at another Olympic Games playing table tennis as well? Perhaps the first Australian to play two sports at an Olympic Games.
No, mate, listen, there's a lot of good table tennis players here, and I'm certainly not at the top of that list. You've got Brandon Borello, Juki, who are all very good. The one player that's not so good though is Riley McGree. He's right at the bottom of that list. He's tried to give me a couple of good games, but he'll tell you himself he's just way short of the standard. But the problem is he thinks he's good. You know, hopefully me saying this now you'll realise that he's just not up to scratch. You can't get them, you can't get them.
Is it true that you've got a new nickname, Marian Cilic?
Yeah, I had a few of the boys were you know, toting that round. You know, I'll take it. If that's a comparison, I've been called a lot worse anyway over the years.
Thanks for joining us, Harry, and all the best for what lies ahead.
No problem, guys. Good to see you. Thanks again.
Thank you. Another great insight into Socceroos camp, getting a close look at what happens inside the dressing room in preparation for a game, this time in Kuwait. Archie Thompson joins me back at the screen. Archie, Riley McGree was outstanding in his starting debut for the Socceroos. As we preview the next game, we look at one of the stars for the previous game in Riley McGree, and his starting debut, a huge responsibility put on his shoulders in the middle of midfield. Yeah, certainly, and especially when you look at a lot of the attacks came through him in this game. But I really missed his energy from playing in the A-League and seeing what he's capable of. Obviously, he's gone back overseas in the UK where he's developing his game a lot more. But I just love his physicality, his directness. He's willing to get on the ball in pockets, face forward and create, and also try to score goals, and that's what you want in those sort of positions. Especially in the first half, I thought he was everywhere for the Socceroos, winning those balls and playing those attacking passes. Yeah, well look, he's, I think when you think of players that are there, there's obviously that bit of carrot dangling in front of him for Tokyo selection. So every opportunity you're going to get, you want to play out of your skin. I thought he did really, really well, especially under tough conditions. I mean, people forget about how hard it is to play in the Middle East. And also too, when you look at the pitch and the amount of games it's been played on, you can see it start to tear up. So it's always going to be able to be difficult to play the football you want, but I felt like as soon as he got on the ball, he was wanting to create. And, you know, I thought he was outstanding. Do you think Graham Arnold looks at this squad? He's rotated, obviously, in the first two games. Different starting 11 in Game 2. Again, will he look to freshen things up in Game 3? I think, you know, when you look at the opposition, I'd be looking to throw some youngsters in. I'd look at maybe Connor Metcalf, Ruun Tonjik,
who have had outstanding seasons in the A-League. I'd like to see them do it at international level and prepare themselves for possibly going to Tokyo. But look, there's a lot of things you can do. I know that the squad's quite big, but there's a lot of quality that you can just throw out at 11 and they put on a really, really good performance. So it could be that he want to freshen up players and maybe bring in some young players to give him that real experience at international level.
All right, we look forward to seeing the Socceroos in action tomorrow morning against Nepal. Now, we're going to speak to one of Archie's good mates, Ryan McGowan. It was great to see Ryan McGowan back in the Socceroos jersey, and these two guys get along like a house on fire. Spent a few years together, didn't you, boys, in Socceroos camp?
Yeah, it was fun. Obviously, I'm delighted to see him back in the squad. He deserves it. He's had a fantastic year with Sydney FC, and you know, he's doing our nation proud.
Ryan, thanks for joining us. It's been, what, 4 years since your games for the Socceroos. How did you get the call up? Was it a surprise?
Yeah, it's been a little while between drinks. I had a feeling that I'm possibly in this squad at the first camp in March, before COVID hit. I'd sort of been notified that I was a chance to be in that squad, and then obviously with COVID happening and it being sort of cancelled, I knew I wasn't obviously going to be in that one. And yeah, so I had a feeling that if I was playing well in Sydney during sort of the COVID break and the start of this season, that I might have been a chance to sneak in, and yeah, that's exactly what I've done.
You've been part of the Socceroos setup for a long time now. Obviously, you've said that it's been a long time between drinks since you've been part of your last Socceroos camps. I guess what's been the difference that you've seen notably between your time early on and to what it is now, and even maybe the younger players coming through?
There's less clowns like you involved than there was at the start. Yeah, it's totally changed. It's totally changed. We've been talking about that for a little bit. Like Dom, the kit man, remember him? So he's been around for a long time. So my first camp was 2012. So yeah, lots changed then. Players, even staff have changed since then. So yeah, I've been around the scene for a long time. So yeah, it's just good. It's also really exciting. Like you said, some of the younger players that are coming through are they're a different breed really from you know, sort of even myself as a young player coming through, and it just shows you the times have changed in those 10, 11 years from sort of just football, how it's changed when I was coming through to now.
You've had a few different managers over the years in your time with the Socceroos. Just take us inside Arnie's, the way he goes about things with the national team. He talks a lot about, being a family, and he's a bit of a father figure. And I suppose probably more so now that during this COVID situation, you sort of need that, don't you?
Yeah, I think he's been fantastic. This is the first time that I've worked with him, and I'm not just saying that because he's the boss, but he has been really good. Even during COVID, it was probably about once a month that he would set up sort of Zoom phone calls, just to keep everyone in the loop, just keep you updated with what the situation was, that there was possibly be a hub, like around about now, that, he'd been watching our games, and just a general chat. At the end of it, he would say, if you want to call me, if you want to call any of the staff, that we're always here. And I think that, really helped because like everyone sort of had during COVID times, there was a lot of loneliness, so there was a lot of uncertainty around it. And, for him to have, sometimes it was up to 50, 60 players who have them at different times, just those Zoom calls to even just see some of the Aussie boys, what it's like. I was lucky enough to be playing in Australia, but some boys that were in Korea or overseas that didn't have that sort of Aussie connection, a lot of the times Arnie would leave the phone call and a few of us would stay on and just talk about some old times. So, from that aspect, it was really good. And since we've been in here, it's a great atmosphere. Like you said, I've worked under 3 national team coaches, and this is probably the best atmosphere that I've been involved in. Before
we get on to our quiz, Ryan, Archie and I are well beyond our peak fitness, but we were told that you lost 4 kilos in the game that you played the other night. Archie, we might need to head to Kuwait.
Oh, 100%. I definitely could use that now. I felt like I was putting on weight driving here. So, certainly love to see that. How does that work on the body? How do you find that sort of those conditions? I know you came, I think it was from Saudi Arabia back to the A-League, but has it been a big, step back when you think about what you have here in the A-League and what you have there?
Yeah, for sure. I think yesterday during the day it was 48 or 49. Yeah, and kick off the first game was probably in the 40s, and it was at 10 o'clock at night. So it does take a little bit of a toll on the body, and yeah, typical Stephen Bradbury fashion. I'd only been in training for a day before Arnie pulled me and said that Saints were struggling, so I'd be chucked in. So yeah, it took a little bit of adjustment, and you know, definitely after the first 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I was praying that it wasn't a difficult game because I was struggling a little bit. But yeah, you know, it's just the heat factor, and the same applies to both teams. And I'm feeling much more comfortable in the heat now than I did, you know, sort of that first game for sure.
Fantastic. All right, let's have some fun, Archie. With you two, this could go anywhere, all right? So we're going to play a quiz which is called Who is More Likely? You've both got a little paddle. Archie's got a paddle. I'm not sure what Ryan's got over there. So
I've got a paddle, 2 paddles hidden. I'm not allowed to see them yet. Can I see them now?
Okay. All right, you'll show us your paddle when you're ready. So.
Hey, what time slots is, because we're talking this paddle, mate, all right? We're talking this paddle.
I'm going to ask you a question. Who is more likely? And then you show me whether it's Archie or whether it's Ryan is more likely to do this.
I wonder
and then,
if we've got the same photos or not.
All right, who is more likely not to turn up to team breakfast?
Oh, God.
Oh, I love this photo.
Surely I got to pick the better photo.
Why do you say Ryan, Arch?
I just because I love breakfast. I mean, I don't miss breakfast too often, but yeah, that's why I chose that. But where'd you get that photo from? Seriously?
I've only ever missed one. I was late for one meeting under Ange. You know what it's like, Archie, just lying, chilling in the room, and then the phone went in the room, and when like no one calls at your phone in your room. And straight away, your like heart just goes to 200 beat, and you're like, "We got a meeting or something?" I'm like, nah, I don't have a meeting. And it was Joel. Joel going, "Oh, idiots, you got a meeting." And we're like, "Oh yeah, what time at?" It's like 12 o'clock. It was like 10 past 12. Oh my God, we went sprinting down the elevator. We walked into the room, and Ange had started already. He started without us, and he didn't even look at us as we walked in the room. He didn't even like skip a beat of what he was going through. I just thought, I'm just going to go upstairs and pack my bag and leave straight away. And he didn't say anything. And then at the end of the meet, he just let us sweat there for the whole time. And he just went through us. You let your teammates down and everything. It is the worst feel. When that phone call went, I could have thrown up on the spot. It was so bad.
Yeah, I hate that. He's so right, because I reckon it's happened to me a couple of times when the phone, you know, the room phone rings. You don't expect the room phone to ring, and then as soon as you hear it's like a team manager saying like, you know, where are you guys? Immediately, like you said, your heart just drops. And I've had it a few times actually.
All right, next one. Who is most likely to stay back at training and do extras?
Archie used to like finishing.
He just loves popping that thing up.
Archie used to just want to stay back for the cameraman to get some good photos for his Instagram. Him and Timmy would stand next to each other.
Hey, who would really want that though? If it was out of me and Timmy, who would really want to be staying back and taking that photo? Be honest.
Yeah, Timmy would have wanted to stay back. Make sure he got
hey man.
shot.
Sorry, Timmy.
So what you're telling us, Ryan, is Archie staying back for extras, not to improve his finishing, but for the photos.
Yeah, to help his Instagram and Twitter and his public image. True or false?
Fantastic.
True.
Love it. All right, who is more likely to run away and join a circus?
Yeah, I'll go on. I'd like to do that.
Who's that?
Have you ever thought about... You just wanted to show us the photo, didn't you?
Hard man.
That was my last game. Went to Siberia after that for a few years.
All right, moving on. Who is more likely to miss a family birthday for a big night out with the boys?
Obviously, I think
You would.
You know, I've got a new partner, and I'm like totally in love with her, and it's been over 2.5 years now. So maybe that Archie in that frame would have probably maybe have picked a night out, but certainly would rather pick a night in with my missus right now.
My wedding anniversary is next week, so I'm in the bad books for that. Look at this guy. There's another guy from Siberia.
Oh, Jimmy.
James Holland, welcome. You can't hear us.
I miss you.
I miss you more.
Just get out. He says he can't believe he got picked. He's not seen
Mate, the dream team's back. The dream team's back.
Dream team, you're just missing me.
He's come to do the gym, thinking he'll get a game. Arnie's not here, mate. No one's watching.
It's on camera. It's on camera.
Archie, optional gym session.
Oh dear. All right, who's more likely to be the coach's pet?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I needed to be because I'd probably end up where Ryan did if I wasn't, and in Siberia. So I had to kind of stick around the manager.
All right, last one. Who is more likely
Face of the A-League.
to throw someone under the bus?
Again.
Oh, get out. I was actually going to put me paddle like this because I actually think we both are not capable of doing that. We're one of the good guys.
Yeah, we are true. One of the good guys. So we'll go with that.
Okay, perfect.
All right, I'm actually going
There's
to...
James Holland would. James Holland would throw everyone under the bus. Look at him.
What are you doing right now, mate?
Ryan McGowan, we thank you so much for joining us. We could be here for hours and be entertained, but we'll have to let you go. Thanks again and all the best.
I'm going to go pretend I know what I'm doing in the gym for a bit. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.
Legend.
Kill! Get him,
We've learnt a lot about Ryan McGowan and Archie Thompson tonight. Archie, were you any good at foot tennis?
A lot better than he was, that's for sure.
Thanks for joining us. It's been fantastic.
Thanks, Avis.
All right, one of the greats, Archie Thompson, joining us tonight. Don't forget, you can catch the game against Nepal in the early hours of the morning on Fox Sports, KO, and of course the My Football app. We wish you all the best. Thanks for tuning in once again.